as 2022 comes to a close, we're taking a look at where the Nashville real estate market is, what's happened this year, and where we're expected to go. All of that and more in today's video. Everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin and I am a local Nashville real estate agent and founder of the Caitlin Martin team, powered by Weichert Realtors, the Andrews Group. I specialize in working with savvy sellers who want to sell right and sell smart, as well as working with out-of-staters looking to relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. Now, if this is your first time stopping by my channel, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Please feel free to click subscribe down below so that you are notified anytime I release new video content. So in today's video, we're talking about the Nashville real estate market, what you need to know, because if you've heard any of my other market updates, or maybe you've read a ton of national headlines, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of opinions out there, but here's the thing. We're gonna be taking a look at what you need to know, what predictions look like, and is Nashville at risk of a housing crash? So we're gonna take a look at all of that. So let's go ahead and start diving into what it is that you need to know. So if you haven't seen any of my other real estate market updates, I'll kind of give you a snapshot of what happened this year in the Nashville real estate market. So we started this year like a shot out of a cannon. We were still rolling on the steam of that really incredible white hot market that we had really seen since about middle of March of 2021. We were just powering through. January was very strong. February was very strong. Still seeing multiple offers, like 30 plus offers on a home. March, there was the slightest hint that we might be slowing down a little bit, but it was really April when we started to notice a dramatic pumping of the brakes in terms of that white hot market that we had seen. And then in the months since, we've really watched the market just try to kind of figure itself out. Of course, we are constantly to a pain point, battling headlines. I'm just gonna say this and take it for what it's worth, but please do not let a national headline, do not let the news dictate your real estate decisions. This is a conversation that so many agents and I are having, other lenders and I are having. If you start actually really looking at those headlines, you're gonna see they're gonna find a way to work in the word crash. They're gonna find a way to work in the word bubble. The media, it is fear-based. That's how they make money. So please take anything in regards to your real estate decisions. Please take any news headline with a grain of salt, because here's something to know real quick. Real estate is always hyper local. So what's happening in Nashville is not going to be the same as what's happening, say, in New York City or somewhere in Texas. It's always hyper local. Can there be national trends? Absolutely. But there's a lot going for Nashville in this real estate market. And when we're constantly seeing these headlines, I mean, it is a constant battle that myself and other realtors in the area have been having to deal with since the market really started to put on its brakes earlier this year, because we've just kind of watched what's happening. One thing that I like to say, and I know I've said this in other real estate market update videos, but our market had been giving and giving and giving in excess when it was in that really white hot stage. But now the market's reabsorbing its excess. It's really returning more to a balanced market, especially in the Nashville area. So if you are seeing all of these headlines that are saying crash this and crash that and all of the things, you really have to start looking at what market you're looking in. So if you're looking to make a move to the Nashville area, you really got to take a look at what is happening here. What are the economic factors that we're dealing with locally that can dictate what may or may not happen in Nashville? And you know, as we're looking at the numbers that have come out from the Greater Nashville Realtors, when they take a look at all of the counties that make up the Nashville area, when we're taking a look, those numbers, they kind of tell a little bit of a wonky story, right? If you are looking strictly at numbers, if you're hearing all these headlines about how the real estate market across the country is going to crash, and then you see the headline or you see the numbers from the Greater Nashville Realtors where it shows that closings for November of 2022 were actually down 38% compared to closings in November of last year, of course that's going to start to cause potentially some fear. It could potentially cause panic. Pair that with the fact that inventory has shot up, especially compared to inventory that we were dealing with last year, the extremely low supply that we had compared to the more healthy supply that we have now. You start to look at that and you're like, what is going on? Then you look at the number of pending sales were actually down from the same time of November of 2022 compared to November of 2021. When you look at that, again, it can start to cause fear, but then you look at sales price, and sales prices are still holding strong. So you kind of got all of these factors kind of laid out in front of you, and you're wondering, what in the world does this mean? So I've said that the number of closed home sales were down for November of 2022 compared to 2021, how pending sales were down, how inventory has nearly doubled, but home prices are staying steady. So let's actually take a look at some numbers real quick. So if we're looking at November of 2022, the number of home sales totaled 2,493 compared to November of 2021, which saw 4,305 closed sales. Let's take a look at pending. So in November of 2022, the number of pending sales was 1,776 compared to November of 2021 with a number of pending sales being 3,112. So as you can see, we are seeing dramatic differences, but we gotta remember, we were in a white hot market with severely low inventory compared to our inventory, which is up. Let's actually take a look at that number. So in November of 2022, our inventory number was 9,757 homes on the market compared to November of 2021, where we had just 3,624 homes on the market. So as you can see, we have significantly seen inventory rise. And the good news throughout all of it, because you may be thinking, well, if inventory is up and home sales are down, are we headed towards a crash? And I really don't believe so at all. And we're gonna talk about why. But one of the shining beacons throughout everything is that home pricing is still remaining steady. Are we seeing price drops on listings that are on the market? Yes, we are. But here's the thing. The way that we were seeing home prices jump month to month, that appreciation that we were seeing throughout the white hot era was just not sustainable. That kind of growth, you cannot maintain that for a long period of time. So now, as we're watching the market just start to stabilize and normalize, we're having to watch where home pricing is getting a little bit trickier and people are just having to adjust down to what the market is dictating. Because when the market was white hot, there was the market that was dictating some of the price, but then you also had the buyer that was in part dictating that price because inventory was so low, but demand was so high that buyers were putting a price quite literally on what they wanted in order to try to get the home. But as the market stabilizes, we have to see what part of all of that appreciation was owned by the market and what part of that appreciation was owned by the buyer. And as the market stabilizes, what is owned by the buyer is going to start to get reabsorbed into what the market is dictating in a far more stabilized market. So before we dive into some of the economic factors that we're looking at here in Nashville, which tends to be a little bit of an indicator as to why Nashville in particular is not really setting itself up to have all of the indicators consistent with a crash, let's actually take a look in terms of in the Franklin, Brentwood, Nolensville area, which located inside of Williamson County, let's actually take a look at what the average home sale price for a single family home was in each of those towns as of November 2022. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that we were seeing home prices go dramatically out of control. Like Franklin, back before the market went wild, Franklin, the average home sale price for a single family home was around the $550,000, and then it topped out at $1 million. Now we're going to be looking at the median home sale price in Franklin, in Brentwood, and Nolensville. But the median, again, it's kind of getting those outliers out of the way and honing in more on what that true number looks like. So that's what we're going to be looking at. But as you can see, things have again sort of corrected themselves. So actually, let's take a look first at Franklin. So the median home sale price for a single family home in Franklin as of November of 2022 was $885,000. Now let's take a look at Brentwood. The median home sale price for November of 2022 was $1,095,000. And then in Nolensville, that median home sale price was $780,438. So that's going to give you an idea of where pricing is sitting as we start to close out the end of 2022. And then let's also quickly take a look at what the average price per square foot is in each of these areas, because that is something that I'm still consistently being asked in terms of what should I know about what the average price per square foot looks like in Franklin, in Brentwood, in Nolensville. Now, I do want to preface this by saying these are going to be the average price per square foot for a single family home in each of these communities. Now, one thing to note, there are certain thresholds, and it's not the same threshold in each of these areas in terms of where that square footage, you start to see a noticeable difference. So this is going to be the average overall, so just keep that in mind. Generally speaking, in Franklin, around that $812,000 is where we do see a noticeable jump up in average price per square foot. In Brentwood, that threshold is going to be at about $1.1 million. And then in Nolensville, that threshold sitting at $659,000. So again, let's go take a look at what the average overall price per square foot is in each of these areas. So in Franklin, the average price per square foot for November of 2022 was $346 per square foot. That's actually up 25.4% from the same time last year. Now let's take a look at Brentwood. The average price per square foot is $324. That's a jump of 23.2% from the same time last year. And then let's take a look at Nolensville, and that's going to be an average price per square foot of $269. And that is actually a jump of just shy of 27% from the same time last year. And again, we do have those thresholds where things change. So let's actually take a look at that threshold and see how the numbers jump really quick in each of those communities. So in Franklin, once you cross over that $812,000 price point, your average price per square foot jumps up to $383. In Brentwood, once you cross over the $1.1 million range, you're now looking at $382 a square foot. And then let's take a look at Nolensville. And in Nolensville, once you cross over that $659,000 threshold, your average price per square foot for a single family home jumps to $278. So Nolensville is not as big of a jump, but as you can tell between Franklin and Brentwood, once you do cross over those thresholds, you do notice an increase in your price per square foot. So let's talk about a couple of economic factors. So when you are starting to hear these really scary headlines, there's a couple of things that you really need to also be looking towards to kind of give us an indication of what Nashville may or may not be dealing with. So right now, Nashville, I've said this several times before, but Nashville continues to be a really popular relocation destination for people across the country, whether they're relocating for business, whether it's for personal, or whether it's a combination of both. You know, Nashville, Tennessee in general continues to offer a lot of really great financial benefits in terms of the fact that we have no state income tax, we have low property taxes. Ultimately, people's dollars going to go farther here than most of the times in the places where they're coming from. So because people continue to come in, that's going to help with our appreciation in our real estate market. As the demand continues to come in, we're going to continue to watch home appreciation go up. We also have to take a look at our local economy. So like I said, a lot of those people are relocating for business. Businesses are relocating headquarters here, which is bringing jobs here. If we are looking at our local economy, we have not only recovered all of the jobs lost during 2020, but we have continued to add more jobs to our local economy, which is a great factor because we are making sure that people have jobs. And then not only that, we've actually seen our wages increase as well. Now, of course, everyone is dealing with inflation these days. However, when you start to look at the fact that people are continuing to relocate here, which as people relocate, they need a place to live. And so Nashville, we continue to build new construction, although we are expected to not be building at quite the same pace that we had been, but we're going to continue to build. Those people are going to continue to need a place to live. Are all of them going to buy? No. But a lot of them will. And if you haven't heard this stat before, Nashville is expected to have another 200,000 people move here by 2025. And then the state of Tennessee in general is expected to have another 1 million people move here by 2040, with 57% of that landing in the Middle Tennessee area. So for the decent near future, we are expected to continue to grow. And the fact that business is continuing to bring jobs, that's going to continue to fuel our economy. We continue to have a booming tourist economy, which helps continue to feed money in. So Nashville, I'm never gonna use the words recession proof, but our economic factors that can tend to dictate what is going to happen on a local level when you're dealing with all of these really scary headlines, we are sitting in a far better position. The future for Nashville is bright. We continue to see companies and developers come in and plan these awesome developments in and around the Nashville area. And if people did not believe in Nashville, if they didn't believe they'd see a good return on investment, they wouldn't be coming here. So when you start to see all of the headlines, do we know for certain what is going to happen in 2023? We do not. Of course, there are factors like inflation. We're going to continue to see what interest rates do. But we do know a couple of things. People are going to continue to move here, which will help with home appreciation. Is it going to be, those astronomical appreciation rates that we were seeing last year? No. But they are expected to continue to appreciate, even if it's at a much more normal rate. We continue to have a great local economy, which is going to continue to help feed our housing market as well. So we've got a lot that's working for us. We do expect that we will continue to see demand on housing. We just believe we're going to be sitting in a far more stabilized market, which is great, especially for buyers. That means you have more negotiating power than you did when our market was white hot. You're not having to waive every contingency over the sun. You just have a lot more negotiating power. Nashville is a fantastic place to live and to work. And so Nashville in general, we are very, very fortunate. Now, we can't control everything that happens, but overall, we are sitting in a much better spot than several other cities across the US. And again, we can't tell you with exact certainty what's going to happen, but we are expecting a traditional spring selling season as we are headed into 2023. So of course, the market in Nashville is ever changing. It can shift from week to week. And of course, as we head into 2023, I'm going to continue to bring you updates and let you know what is happening here. But just know Nashville, at least what we are seeing, the way that Nashville is moving, what's projected for Nashville, Nashville is still a great place to buy, a great place to live. If you've got to sell, you still have a great selling opportunity. It's just you're not going to most likely get the sun, the moon, the stars, and the whole galaxy in terms of offers, because our market is returning to that more stabilized market. And one other thing I'll add is you hear these terms: buyer market, seller market, normal market. Anything that is 5 months or less in terms of how long it would take, if we had to look at all of the inventory on the market in terms of homes, if we are looking and if it would take 5 months or less for us to run through and sell all that inventory, that is considered a seller's market. Really, that 5-6 month range is a normal market, and anything 6 months or more, like where it would take more than 6 months for all of the inventory to sell out before we had 0 homes on the market, that's a buyer's market. So if we're looking at the average days on market right now, it's sitting as of November of 2022 at 41 days. So that's still well below that 5-month mark. So it is still a seller's market. It's just a far more normalized, stable seller's market. So I hope that this was helpful. If you ever have any questions about what's happening, like I said, real estate, it's hyper local, and what may be happening in one neighborhood can be a little bit different than what's happening in another neighborhood, one part of town versus another part of town. So if you ever have any questions about what's going on in the real estate market here in the Nashville area, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you're thinking about making a move, you can go ahead and click down below where you can get my free Nashville relocation guide. But if you're ready to start that conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out. You actually have a link down below where you can go ahead and schedule an introductory Zoom call with me. But if you're not ready to do that, just yet, that's okay too. Please reach out whenever you are ready. We would love to help you. Again, my name is Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.